Now let's have a chat about our sponsors Low6 who present this programme, and we've got a big contest for you guys this week on Thursday. So tomorrow when you're listening to this, the start of the European Championship, we've got a £100 prize pool. It's free to enter, free to play. We've got over 100 plus of you I think so far that have entered into it, and it's simple. All you've got to do is predict the 16 winners of the first round of the tournament over in Germany. And we've said as well, if any of you get the 16 right in the contest, we'll invite you on the show next week to be our guest tipster and hopefully give our listeners a bit more value than myself and you, Burton, do every week. And if there is more than one winner, then we will pick someone at random. But we haven't got time to go through all 16 games. What we'll do is we'll go through the first 4 games based on the order of play, starting on 3 o'clock on Thursday. First game of the tournament, it is Jamie Hughes against Dave Chisnell. How do you see the first game going?
I have no idea. And that kind of goes to the previous question. It really depends which Jamie Hughes and which Dave Chisnell turn up. And, these two players have the potential to play the greatest best out of 11 match we've ever seen. And it's also possible that they could play a game that doesn't end till Friday. That's being a little harsh because they at least play at a good pace. Chizzy, it's been bizarre this year because he's shown flashes that he's better than ever. But he's also shown flashes that he's more inconsistent than ever. Jamie Hughes hasn't played as well as he did last year, but still has been serviceable. That's why he's 17th heading into the European Championship. 16th. But I'll give it the edge to Chizzy. His breakthrough has to come sometime. Maybe it'll be this week, and he'll start off with a 6-2 win.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there. It's a hard one to call based on current form. You've got Dave Chisnell, who at the weekend averages 104 in his first game. Then his next game averages 82. So it's hard to judge what Dave Chisnell we're going to get at the moment. But on the other hand, Jamie Hughes, he was 5-0 up a couple of weeks ago against Mensah Suljovic, ends up losing 6-5. So he's not quite in the best form at the moment. I could see it going Jamie Hughes' way again if Dave Chisnell turns up not in the best of form and Jamie Hughes turns up and plays like he can. Of course, he can go and win the game, but I think I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go with Dave Chisnell to take the opener.
The second match goes down to the third quarter, and it's Krzysztof Ratajski against Steve West. Who are you picking in this one?
Well, for Steve West, a first appearance in this tournament since 2018, and we go back to 2 years ago when he beat Michael van Gerwen on the way to get into the quarterfinals and averaged 100 in that quarterfinal against Simon Whitlock and ended up losing it. So since then, we've not seen him perform quite at that level or go on a deep run on these TV events. But it's good to see him back in the field for it. But he has got a very hard game in that first round. Krzysztof Ratajski, as I mentioned on this show earlier, he's one of the players in form at the moment. At the weekend, 99, 102, 102 averages, didn't quite make it all the way, but he is performing at a top level. And even that game against the host nation qualifier Franz Roach, unbelievable game, one of the best games I've seen on the European Tour for a little while. He is playing well, and if he turns up and plays like he has been, I think it is only going to go one way. So I'm going to go with the Polish Eagle to take this one.
Yeah, I mean, Steve West has gone through a couple dry years recently, and it's why he's dropped out. I mean, he was just outside the top 16 a couple of years ago, but he's stopped qualifying for events, and now he's well outside the top 32. This is his first major that he's qualified for that isn't open to 64 more players since this event 2 years ago, and I'm not seen enough to think that he's going to beat Ratajski if Ratajski's anywhere near his best. Ratajski's still looking for that big TV breakthrough in the PDC, but he doesn't need to be at that level that'll need to lift the title to beat Steve West, at least I think. So I'm going to go as well with Ratajski. I'll go 6-3.
Third game up, and it is Mervyn King against Ian White. How do you see this one going?
This is another really difficult one to pick. Mervyn King, as I've said multiple times on this show, I think you have as well, has really had a rebound year after 2019, where there were legitimate questions if he was going to start dropping down the rankings. He did miss the match play this year, but that was because of COVID, basically. He was playing well enough that if the season didn't get postponed, I think he would have easily gotten in. He got back into the World Grand Prix. He's here. Ian White has moved in the other direction, but has had a couple of decent weeks to show that he's starting to get back towards the player who was looking like one of the top 10 players or top 8 players in the world at the end of last year. I think Ian White, even off his best game, is still a little bit better than Mervyn King getting back towards his best. So I'm going to go Ian White to just get over the line. I'll make it a last leg decider, 6-5.
Oh, well, I'm going to go in the other direction for this one. I'm going to go with Mervyn King, and it's been a some good times for Mervyn King over the last few months. The European Tour, that's where we've seen his best stuff on that stage, going into Germany to play, and Belgium, the first one, of course, to play these events, got to a semi-final and a quarter-final. And yeah, his run of getting to the World Match Plays, what was it, 13 years in a row since he came over from the BDO. He was in the match play, wasn't in it this year, but his perfect record in playing in the European Championship. I think he's the only player to have played in every single version of it since 2008. He's kept that run going. At the minute, I think I'm going to back Mervyn King on this one. Ian White, not the player he was 12 months ago. He's struggling for form. The European Tour, he had so many good times on that last year. This year, he lost his first game 3 out of the 4. It was a big run that he had to the semi-finals a few weeks ago that got him in the field for this. So he is capable of going on a run. But I'm just going to go with Mervyn King on this one. Like you, I think it's going to go tight, but I'm going in the other direction.
All right, and then last but not least, although 4th out of 16 overall, we get our first winner on the tour this year, Jose de Sousa. De Sousa, he goes against Jeffrey Deswan. How do you see this one?
Yeah, hard one to call. I think if both players are playing on their game, and at the minute, I think there's only one player that is playing well, and that is Jose de Sousa. And of course, we spoke about him a couple of weeks ago, and he won that title. It was great to see another first-time winner on the tour, and maybe something that was going to happen. We were just waiting for it to happen, and it all clicked for him on that weekend. Okay, he didn't do quite as well this past weekend, but he's got to go into this with confidence, and this is his debut in the tournament. He's ticking off these big events, playing in them for the first time, but he's not had a big run on TV yet. Now he's got that big run that he's had on stage on the European Tour. Maybe this could be the weekend for him to go on one of those runs, get to a last 16 quarter-final for the first time. Jeffrey Desvan was very close to missing out on this tournament. I think he was 31st in the end on the list, but he's in. He's capable of going deep in this. I think he got to the quarterfinals last year, but on current form, I'm going to have to go with the Portuguese number 1 on this one.
Yeah, I have to agree. And Jeffrey Desvan has not been the easiest sailing for him the last couple of years, and I think maybe just the pressure now of having to defend ranking money for the first time is getting to him a bit. He's been playing poorly, but he's not been playing as freely as he was when he won back his tour card and was making semifinals in TV events for fun, and beating Michael Van Gerwen in TV events for fun. Jose de Sousa is going in the opposite direction, and that's just flying right now. In his second year as a professional, and coming off his first European Tour title just a couple weeks ago. All the signs point towards the Portuguese player to win this match. He absolutely could lose, but I don't think he will. I'm going to go to the Portuguese number 1 and the Euro Tour number 3 to get through to the second round.
Well, those are our picks for the first 4 games. You guys, if you're going to get involved in our contest, got to pick all 16 games for the Thursday opening session. And if you want to get involved, download the Low6 app. 18 plus, UK residents only. T&Cs apply. Please gamble responsibly. BeGambleAware.org. And don't forget, not just the £100 prize pool that you're playing for, free entry, of course, but a chance to be on the show next week as our guest tipster. So best of luck, everyone, if you're playing along.